And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Legendary Secret Wars 2, Volume 2. That's right, Secret Wars is so big that they had to split it into 2 volumes. Now, real quick, this is not the old Secret Wars. This is the one that happened in 2015. It actually extended a little bit into 2016, where they took all the stuff in the Marvel Universe, they put it in a ball of Play-Doh, squished it all together, and then just put it in random comic books. Really, I'm a big Marvel fan, and I'm trying to follow the Secret Wars storyline, and I'm having a hard time. And they took all the characters and changed them and put them in different teams and different names. So you're not going to recognize a lot of these people in this set, but that's okay. So I think if you're looking at this set, we're going to take a look at the people for their abilities more than the character, because unless you read comics from like June 2015 till now, you probably won't recognize most of these people. Anyway, here's the cards. Okay, first we're going to look at the different heroes in the game. We're going to start with the heroes I'm not as big of a fan of. And again, if you're watching this and you don't know who these heroes are, that's okay. No one hardly does at all. Okay, so here we have Corvus Glaive. This guy kills bystanders and stuff to get points. Like here, he can KO a bystander from the escape pile and from each of their players' victory pile and give them lots of attack points. Really dislike cards like this because I like playing Legendary as a co-op game, and this just encourages that mess with other people type thing. I guess this guy, that's why he looks so evil. Then we have Soul Sword Colossus. Don't ask. He can fight a bystander, which is kind of a cool idea. And I actually don't dislike his abilities that much, but they're just okay. I mean, this one here, if you play another X-Men with Colossus, then you can get an X-Men back from the headquarters or the KO pile into your hand. That's kind of cool, but it requires you to have a lot of X-Men cards in the deck. Then we have Dr. Punisher, the Soldier Supreme. Yes, the Punisher and Doctor Strange combined. That makes sense. Now, he has some things in his deck, reveal cards and stuff. He has one here, Patrol the Streets, and you're going to see a lot of patrol cards come out. And what patrol means is you patrol a space on a board. So let's say it's the streets. You patrol the streets, and if it's empty, you draw cards. Whenever you patrol something, you see if that spot's empty. So here I can play this. It gives me 1 purchasing power, and then I can also draw a card if that streets is empty. It's an interesting idea. Patrolling is not as powerful as you might think because, you know, if you've played the game before, you know that these spaces get filled with enemies pretty quickly. His big card, patrolling every city space, +1. Again, I'm not as huge of a fan of this because maybe I'm not as good as you guys were watching, but my spaces are almost always filled with villains. So this is not as powerful as it could be. Elsa Bloodstone, Elsa Bloodstone has Wall Crawl, which is one of the special abilities back from the Spider-Man deck, which I like these. And she has Patrol the Sewers, and Spectrum. Spectrum is something here where if you play 3 different types of attacks, then the Spectrum thing will go off. So, for example, her big attack here, the Spectrum, will give her +3. And so instead of being a 6, that's a 9. Now, Phoenix Force Cyclops, despite being one of my least favorite characters, is, well, yeah, I don't like him in this game either. And here, here I can KO this card to get +2, so I can pay 4 to get a 4 attack. Whoopie-ta-doo. No one cares about that. Gain a hero that was KO'd this turn. That's actually pretty interesting if it happens. And this KO 3 cards from your hand and draw that many cards. That's a neat idea if you're getting a lot of wounds. Otherwise, it's a very expensive thing to draw some extra cards. So, But we're starting to get the cards that I like more. I do like Agent Venom. He has Wall Crawl and patrolling the sewers. Here he can patrol the bank. He also has Spectrum. Here's another Wall Crawl where for each other card you played this turn with a star, you get +1 star. For each other card you play this turn with an attack, you get +1 attack. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. You get a lot of cards that you can play at one time. This can be a really neat, and it's very diverse too. It's a useful card. Then we have Archon the Magnificent. You know who he is? Yeah, I don't either. He can patrol 2 adjacent city spaces if you're both empty, +1 attack. Okay, that's not going to happen very often. He also has Wall Crawl, which, as you can see, him crawling a wall there? No, he doesn't, but whatever. It's the special ability. and Spectrum, and he can patrol the rooftops. This is his big card. If it's empty, you get +4, and +4 attack and +4 money. If not, defeat the villain there for free. This patrol I like, because if there's nothing there, you get the +4/+4. But if there is something there, you kill it. Yeah, I like that. Lord of the Dragons. Then we have Beast. This is another Beast. He has wall crawl, which does make sense because he does that, and he can patrol it. Now the Beast, you'll notice that his cards come with multiple symbols, which I like, because you reveal the top card of the deck. If it's one of those 2 symbols, you draw it. Here, for each other strength card you play this turn, you get +1 attack. For each other technology card you play this turn, you get 1 attack. So if I play 2 of his cards in a row, that's some pretty good stuff here. And his big one here, you need 2 technology and 2 attack, but then you can draw 3 cards. Yes, that might take some doing, but if you're playing with Beast, these cards will be in the deck too. Mix Beast and Iron Man, and you'll have a good day. Then we have Black Swan, who is a new character they added, who is basically a soulless death machine. I know that's surprising. We haven't seen one of those before, but whatever. But she has some interesting things here where she can rescue bystanders. I do like her big one the best, where you can draw the top 5 cards of the villain deck, and you pick one of them, and their victory point cost is how much attack it will do, and then I can put them back in any order, or I can take plus attack for 2 of those cards if I have played one of these symbols already, if I played another Black Swan. If you can pull that off, you can do a pretty big attack with this. Now, one of my favorite characters from the Secret Wars is the Captain and the Devil. This is Captain America, who is running along with a dinosaur. Why not? And he has some cool things. I'm not picking him just because I like the character. He can patrol the streets and Spectrum. He has 2 different Spectrum cards. This one's 2 attack, and this one's 2 money. But also, when he defeats a villain this turn, each villain in Mastermind next will get -2. I like that. Now we're going to talk about a character who's in Secret Wars, but is also outside of Secret Wars 2. And this is one of the few characters in the game that you might know about. She's new to the Marvel Universe, about a year old or so. And that's Silk, who's like a sister to-ish of sorts. It's a really convoluted story. To Spider-Man, but she's just like Spider-Man, where all her cards cost 2. She has wall crawl and Spectrum, and her big one, she can look for different cards. Here she can draw top 4 cards, and any combination of those cards with a total cost of 2 or less in her hand. So that's interesting, and Spider-Gwen is the same thing. Who was Spider-Gwen, you may ask? Well, in an alternate universe, Peter Parker was killed, and Gwen Stacy became Spider-Woman. Make sense? Then there was a big storyline where all the Spider people from different universes got together to fight. It's craziness. But she is now in our Marvel Universe now, and she's actually a really good character. And she does similar things while her cards also cost 2, which is a lot of fun. Then we have time-traveling Jean Grey, who is very different than non-time-traveling Jean Grey. And she has some cool things here where she can patrol the bridge. If it's empty, when she draws a new hand of cards, you draw an extra card. That's good. And you can move a villain to an adjacent city space, which is very useful, especially when these patrol cards are out there. And here she can patrol any city space. If it's empty, she gets the hero that's in the headquarters space underneath it. One of my favorite cards in this set. I like getting free heroes. But we still have a couple more cool heroes to go. We have Shang-Chi, who has wall crawl, of course, and patrolling. You'll notice that patrolling is on like half the cards of this set. But I like this one here. When you're shuffling your deck with this card in it, you can set this card aside and put it on top of your deck at the end of the shuffle. That means every time you shuffle your deck, you're getting muscle memory. That is great. That is one of my favorite cards in the entire game. Now we have Ruby Summers here, who I guess is, I don't even know who she is. But anyhow, when she defeats people, gets plus attack. Her cards are expensive. To play this card, you have to discard a card from your hand. You can teleport cards, but she has a 10 attack card. Yeah, you gotta discard 3 cards from your hand. But that's okay, it's a 10 attack card. And it's an Extinction Blast. Apparently she's shooting black, bubbly, I don't know what that is. That's a really gross picture. That stuff should be coming out of your eyes. But anyhow, it's a 10 attack, in case I forgot to mention that earlier. My favorite character is probably Captain Britain, who also gets to patrol. I like his diversity. You get +1 money here for each different team icon among your heroes. He has combined strength, where you get +1 attack for each different team icon among your heroes. I like things that encourage diversification. And I like his big card, which when you draw a new hand of cards, you get 3 extra cards. Yeah! The game also comes with a whole pile of other stuff. This is a big expansion after all, so it comes with a whole pile of new schemes. I mean, there's no way I don't think anyone's ever going to play all of these schemes, but there are some cool ones. The Fountain of Eternal Life I like. It gives Fateful Resurrection, which gives any bad guy always has a chance of coming back to life, so that eventually turns them all into zombies. That's kind of a nasty one. And Secret Wars itself, which is fun because random masterminds will show up on the first 3 twists with only one tactic. So you only have to beat them once, but if you ever, like, I can't decide which mastermind to fight, then play Secret Wars, and you get to fight a lot of them. There's also some more ambition cards that the game includes, a whole pile of them. I don't often play with ambition cards, but they're there if you want to. There's also some new bystanders. We have a shape-shifted copycat. When you rescue them, it becomes a villain with 3 attack and enters a city. It's a bystander who's not even funded to rescue. Or this one here, an undercover agent, basically a player of your choice, which is going to be you probably, gains a shield officer. And then an alligator trapper. Now this one boggles my mind, not because, I mean, it's cool when you patrol the sewers. If it's empty, you get 2 money. But how many alligator trappers are you rescuing? I mean, I think if you would rescue one, that would be like a story for the rest of your life. Well, once I rescued an alligator trapper. But this game comes with multiples. Whatever, that's odd. All right, let's look at the henchmen. I like henchmen a lot because henchmen are in every game and you want to see different new ones. So when this guy's in the sewers, rooftops, or bridge, he's a wolf and he's +2. Okay, so he's a 5 in some spots and 3 in others. Well, that's worth it. This guy here captures a bystander, and the next hero you gain this turn has wall crawl. Okay, so this is like an easier one, a spider infected. And then we got Magna Men, who will KO one of your heroes, and Fateful Resurrection, which means there's a chance you flip a card to see if this guy comes back to life. Other villains. I really like the 92 people because if you beat them, you will gain them as heroes. There's 92 Jubilee chewing bubblegum with the yellow trench coat. These are the superheroes that I grew up with, so I like them. And Professor X, these guys have, you have to get Professor X. You don't want him to escape because he becomes a new mastermind, which is really irritating. So you want to defeat him before it gets to the end. But oh, by the way, this cross-dimensional Wolverine escape is a new crazy special ability. You'll see that in a lot of things where there's this cross-dimensional and then all the other Wolverines. It depends how many are in the game. It's not that interesting. We also have the more villains, Dr. Spectrum and Nighthawk and Whizzer, which is an awful name for a villain to have. Hello, I'm Whizzer. I can see that, but these guys, when they escape, negative things happen to the good guys. Here's another guy who has Fateful Resurrection, Drax the Destroyer. You'll notice that these are the Guardians of the Galaxy, except here they're called the Guardians of Knowledge. And so if you fight them, though, there's a chance that they might do something good for you. This guy patrol the bank. If it's empty, draw a card. If it's not empty, KO one of your heroes. Well, that's not super fun. You don't want to fight this guy. And we also have Pink Sphinx, Howard the Duck, and Dupe. Yes, this game has really run out of people to put in, so they're just pulling all kinds of odd people. Yes, I know who these characters are, but wow. Then we have the Deadpool Secret Wars. So Deadpool can be a villain or a pet dragon. And you'll notice these guys have Fateful Resurrection. So if you want to fight guys who keep coming back over and over again, do them. This guy here has Charge, which means as soon as they come out, they move forward if possible. He's from Monster Metropolis. There's also Ghost Deadpool, because regular Deadpool wasn't annoying enough. We also have Razor Fist, Red Sai, and Laughing Skull. You'll notice these guys have the 5th circle of Kung Fu or the 4th circle of Kung. And what that means is that if you reveal a hero that's 5 or less, you're fine. Otherwise, this guy is an extra 5 attack, so he'd be a 10, which means you're going to have a hard time beating him. Here's a guy with the 6th circle of Kung Fu, and then they're led by this mastermind who has the 7th circle of Kung Fu. This is one of the masterminds, the Immortal Emperor Zheng Zhu. All right, so that's one of the masterminds. Another mastermind is the Spider Queen, who's really gross and disgusting, and if you hate spiders, you will hate her. But she also gets +1 for each bystander in escape pile, so you definitely don't want to let bystanders escape with her. And you'll have to put Spider Infected from your victory pile in an empty city space. So if Master Strike comes, She comes with the spider infected. That was one of the henchmen you saw earlier. So you can kill them, but there's always a chance you'll lose them. They'll come back. Then we have Hyperion, or King Hyperion. And this guy, he enters a city if he's not there. This guy moves around in the city. He's I think he's the only mastermind who does that so far. He's also a 12, and if he charges, and if he escapes, everyone gets a wound. And then he comes back on the city. Then he sits next to the city. But he'll come back in the city every time a Master Strike shows up. So he's fun. I think even though most people are going to be like, who's that guy again? He's fun to play against. And then the last master one here is Shikla, the Demon Bride. I think she married Deadpool, maybe? But anyhow, when she does a Master Strike, you reveal the top 3 cards, and Scheme Twists go on top of the villain deck, and then the rest go on the bottom deck in random order. So whatever the scheme is, she'll make it happen faster. Is this better than Secret Wars 1? I don't know. They're both the same to me. I'll keep them both, and I will occasionally use these characters in games. I'll bring some of them. I like some of the characters themselves, like Silk and Spider-Gwen and Captain America and Dinosaur. But I think for a lot of people, if you play this, they'll be like, who are these people? And you won't be able to explain it, because I bet you won't know either. However, if you play Legendary for cool special abilities and things, you'll like this. There's a whole lot more stuff, and you'll be playing forever and ever. There's more masterminds. I mean, you can see they're starting to drag up almost everything. How many more things can they do for Secret Wars? Well, for Legendary. Oh, they're doing Captain America, and Deadpool is coming up. But I'm not sure that I like the theme of this one. Secret Wars is an interesting storyline, kind of, sort of, but it's very convoluted, and that convolution comes into here. Do I like things like patrol the streets? Yeah, that's a cool new concept. I like that. Wall crawl is something I enjoyed. I'm glad that's back from the Spider-Man set. I like the guys who resurrect from the dead, the trans-dimensional stuff. You can leave that behind. But there is a lot of cool ideas in this, and this now brings the combinations in Legendary up to 64 quadrillion. I don't know, it's a really huge number. So I will recommend this only if you need everything Legendary. It's not a bad set. It's just that a lot of it's not going to make a lot of sense to most people. Or if you're really looking for Legendary and you want more cool mechanisms, and some of the stuff I showed you, like patrolling, attracts you, and you don't care about the characters as much, then this might appeal to you. So that's Secret Wars Volume 2. Dice Tower Judgment approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.